Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Paranoia knows no cultural boundaries, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to assume that you do, because you're listening. And if you are, keep listening. It means a lot. And subscribe. Hit the give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over in the YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, and probably Threads, Blue Sky. I'm losing track. At In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we live to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please come on by and pay us a visit. On this episode, we're diving headfirst in to some cinema from a region of the world that you wouldn't expect to be sort of a favorite, but it's really coming up and turning into something incredibly artistic and special. And this is Iranian cinema, and we're talking about the new film, which is in theaters today, in Toronto at least. I think it's rolling out across the country over the next couple of weeks. It's called The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and it's a story of an investigating judge who grapples with paranoia amid political unrest in Tehran. And when his gun vanishes, he suspects his wife and his daughters and ends up imposing draconian measures that strain the family ties as societal rules crumble all around them. It is very telling. It speaks to the moment. It was actually shot in secret because, let's face it, to make films in Iran is a dangerous thing. But it's from writer-director Mohammad Rasoulof, and it's a fantastic piece of work. And we got the pleasure of talking with him about the origins of the story, the nature of shooting the film, because it employs some docu-style footage as well by taking footage from social media with real riots that were happening in the moment and intercutting them with the film. And just it's really a masterclass in creating tension in this family unit, given sort of the circumstances of the world around them. It's an excellent piece of work. And we talked with Mohammed just about the origins of the story, shooting it in secret, and so very much more. But like I said, if you're in Toronto, go check out The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Like I said, it's probably rolling out in the next couple of weeks across the country and various other places. But first, enjoy our talk with writer-director Mohammad Rasoulof via the aid of an interpreter, because it's a darn good one. All right, well, Mohammed, obviously, first off, just thank you so much for the time today. I got to see the film again yesterday for the second time. I absolutely loved it. And just congratulations to you and your entire team for the fantastic work you did on the film.
خیلی ممنونم از شما و متشکرم که منو برای این مصاحبه دعوت کردید.
Thank you very much, and great to be talking to you.
I was so struck by the use of perspective in the film, sort of seeing the kids constantly on their phones, seeing the things that are happening in the streets via the actual footage that you provided, seeing the mother constantly watching the news, seeing the father emotionally torn with sort of navigating.
دیدگاه مادر که هی اخبار نگاه میکنه، دیدگاه پدر که هی داره از هم قاطی میکنه.
It really feels like it was a genuine, like for the first time, I think I've maybe seen what it feels like to sort of operate and live in a totalitarian state like Iran and how they operate. For you as a storyteller, how important was that to sort of put across on the screen to give us sort of these multiple views of sort of what's going on inside the family life?
و برای شما به عنوان روایتگر با هم آوردن تمام دیدگاه‌های متفاوت که این زندگی خانوادگی رو تشکیل میده چطور بود؟
خب داستان برای من چند تا لایه داشت. یه لایه روانشناختی اول از هر چیزی بود که بر من یه سوالایی وجود داشت که میشه تو این داستان جاری بشه. این اولین لایه‌ای بود که ذهن منو مشغول میکرد و بیشتر این سوال درباره یه کاراکتر ایمان بود که یه همچین کاراکتری وقتی توی یک فضای استبدادی داره زندگی میکنه چجوری یک قسمتی از این سیستم هست، چجوری اونجا قرار داره، چیکار داره میکنه، چجوری فکر میکنه، گذشتش چیه و چجوری به اون نقطه رسیده. این چیزی بود که لایه اول داستان بود بر من.
So there's various layers. The first layer for me was a psychological layer. I was interested in for many years in trying to understand how people like Iman, the father, operate, what happens inside him, which stages has he gone through that enable him to think and act the way he does.
از طرفی این سوال برام وجود داشت که نسل جدید که تو خود ویدیوهایی که توی فیلمم هست نشون میده تا چه اندازه شجاع، جسور و بی‌پروا هستن، چطوری با استفاده از شبکه‌های اجتماعی تونستن همدیگر رو پیدا کنن، تونستن صدای اعتراض خودشون رو به دنیا برسونن و این دومین چیزی بود که خیلی منو تحت تاثیر قرار داده بود و دوست داشتم توی داستان وجود داشته باشه.
Then, of course, there's this young generation that we see, in fact, in the videos, the documentary videos that appear throughout the film, that was so incredibly courageous and took us all by surprise. And I was very keen to show it in the film.
طبیعتاً وقتی که داستان رو درباره یه خانواده تعریف میکنیم و یک مواجهه این شکلی توی خانواده هست که ما شاهد یه شکاف خیلی عمیق بین دو تا نسل هستیم، میشد به اینا رسید.
And so clearly, when there's so much conflict, when there's such a deep rift going on between a family that illuminates this conflict between these two generations, you do get to this point that represents, or where you have to look at all these different perspectives.
For sure, 100%.
در این حال مادر خانواده هم بیانگر یه موقعیت پیچیده، علاوه بر این که توی خانواده داره نقش مادری خودش رو انجام میده و یه شخصیتیه که خیلی از ماها دور برامون توی ایران دیدیم، یه جور مادر تیپیکال ایرانیه که خیلی داره تلاش میکنه که تعادل رو تو خانوادهش برقرار کنه. ما با شکل روبرو شدنش با واقعیت هم روبرو میشیم در مقابل نسل جدید که تلاش میکنه منابع دستیابی به واقعیتش منابع دست اولی باشه، مستقیم از تو شبکه‌های اجتماعی به خود واقعیت برسه. ما با مادری روبرو هستیم که خیلی اوقات مقابل تلویزیون نشسته و انگار هیپنوتیزم شده و داره یه واقعیت دستکاری شده رو از یک حکومت سرکوبگر میگیره و به اونا باور داره و این تفاوت هم بر من خیلی جالب بود.
And then, of course, we've got the mother, who represents a quite complicated position, because on the one hand, apart from fulfilling her role as a mother in a very typical fashion, we've seen many of these mothers around us in Iran. She's really a kind of archetypal, typical Iranian mother, trying in every possible way to preserve the balance of the family. At the same time, we're also confronted with her relationship with reality, which contrasts the relationship of the young generation with reality, in the sense that the young generation is seeking for primary sources to connect to the reality unfolding in the streets by means of social media, the unfiltered truth, if you like. Whereas we see her sitting in front of the television, often hypnotized by the television, which presents fabricated truths by this totalitarian regime, which she has utter faith in. She believes she's watching the truth.
یه همچین میکسی یه قابلیت دیگه هم به نظرم به وجود آورد، این که یه خانواده رو تبدیل کرد به یه واحدی که میتونی بگی این یه نمونه ای از جامعه هست. یه لایه های دیگه ای هم توش به وجود میاد اون موقع، یعنی میتونه بازتابی از جامعه هم باشه.
And then I think that this kind of family has another, telling a story about this kind of family has another advantage in the sense that it really shows us one split section, one small unit that indeed is the reflection of society itself.
No, 100% I agree. And I mean, it's one of those things where it made me appreciate sort of the work that you and your entire team did, because obviously making a film is no easy task, but making a film in secret has to be 100 times more difficult. And I mean, I'm curious for you as the filmmaker and the storyteller, how much work did you have to do sort of in advance in pre-prep to sort of get everyone on the same page? Or is it just a question of having faith in your team and your collaborators to sort of get the vision across?
Sorry, David, just to make sure I understand the question. You're wondering how much extra work filming this in secret requires, right?
Pretty much, yes. Yeah.
آره، چقدر کار اضافه، چقدر برنامه ریزی، یا اینکه ایمان کافی بود که همه با هم بتونیم به همچین دستاوردی برسیم.
خب یک هدف مشترک بین ما نقطه شروع بود. برای این بود خیلی تلاش میکردیم و برنامه‌ریزی دقیق و بدونیم که ما داریم زیر فشار سانسور کار میکنیم و حقیقتش همه گروه فقط میخواستن که فیلم درست کنن که داستانش رو احساس میکنن زیر سانسور به اون معنا نیست، داره به واقعیت نزدیکتره، به واقعیت جاری تو زندگی مثلا یه خانواده ایرانی نزدیکتره و همین برای ما کافی بود که تلاش کنیم که فیلمو شروع کنیم. ولی برای شروع کردنش دیگه به این فکر کردیم که اگه میخوایم واقعا فیلم برداری رو تموم کنیم باید گروه کوچیک نگه داریم، تجهیزاتمون خیلی محدود باشه و بهترین گزینه هم این بود که من از راه دور کارگردانی کنم.
So, of course, faith in really wanting to make this film all together was the starting point, and we needed, and that's what made us all decide to collaborate on this, to tell the story under totalitarianism, which means you cannot comply. It would not make sense to tell this story sticking to the strictures of censorship, because we wanted to tell a story that was as close as possible to the current reality of most families in Iran. But then in order to actually start a shoot that could try to achieve completion, we decided to stick to 3 basic protocols, to have a very small cast and crew, to use very light equipment, and that I should direct remotely.
Sure. Now, I mean, when the film pivots to more of a thriller, I love the setting of the family home. It was a great scene. It was a great sort of backdrop for it all. And I love your use of light in there as well. Can you talk a little bit about sort of how you use light in the setting to sort of add to sort of the tension and sort of the ambiance of the mood? Because I can imagine you have to rely a little bit on natural light, but also some that you're directing yourself in a situation like this.
در فیلم چه به عنوان احتمال محدودیت، چه به عنوان عنصر داستان، به خصوص با توجه به اینکه خودتون تشریف نداشتین تو ست.
خب این که من توی ست نبودم در واقع همون لحظه داشتم تصاویر رو میدیدم، بنابراین کنترل تصاویر همیشه وجود داشت و من یه کنترل دائمی رو همه چیز داشتم از راه دور و آنلاین. در این حال وقتی که این محدودیت رو از اول میدونیم ما دنبال راه حل بودیم و خوشبختانه پویان آقا بابایی فیلمبردار این فیلم خیلی خلاق و خیلی بروز هست، یعنی خیلی تجهیزات و تکنولوژی روز رو خیلی میشناسه و ما درباره تک تک فصلهای فیلم با جزئیات قبلا حرف زده بودیم، در یک توافق دائمی و کامل راجع به اتمسفر و شیوه اجراش بودیم.
داشت وقتی فصل منظورتون فصل بهار و تمام
نه فصل منظورم سکانس و بخش.
Yes, so just one clarification. When I say that I direct remotely, it doesn't mean I was not actually, that I'd given up in any way control of the image, because I was always seeing in live time what was being filmed through a monitor, through a secure connection, live and online. So I was always, controlling the image and directing it. But of course, in terms of the restrictions and what we could and could not do with light, that's something we were aware of from the very beginning and worked around during the extensive prep. And the DOP of the film, Puyon Oralbabai, is extremely creative. He's also completely up to date with the state of the art and how to make the best use of available technologies. And so we spent a great time agreeing, sort of coming to a complete agreement on the tone and the atmosphere that the film should have visually and not only, really on a scene-by-scene basis.
همچنین این یه مقدارم مربوط به کار فوق‌العاده امیر پناهی فر به عنوان طراح صحنه میشد که همه جزئیات ما قبلا ما هم توافق خیلی موثری داشتیم و کارش رو من خیلی دوست داشتم و اون آپارتمان که خیلی اهمیت بزرگی داشت توی داستان و بخش زیادی از زمان فیلم اونجا میگذشت، تمام جزئیات اون آپارتمان چیده شده. یعنی اون آپارتمان خالی بود وقتی که ما تصمیم گرفتیم که اونجا رو انتخاب کنیم برای فیلم برداری و ما همه جزئیات رو به اون خونه اضافه کردیم با دقت و وسواس و در همین حین که داشتیم کار ساختن آپارتمان رو انجام میدادیم برای طراحی نور توی اون خونه فکر میکردیم که هر صحنه رو چطوری اجرا کنیم و به چه لحن بصری برسیم.
And I think likewise, I should also credit the extraordinary work of our set designer, Amir Panahi, especially who again, we sort of discussed and planned everything in detail with, and again, in complete agreement from the get-go. And especially his amazing work on the apartment, which plays such a crucial role in the film, which was a completely bare apartment the moment that we decided to use it for the film. And so every single detail you see in that apartment was created for the film in collaboration with Amir. And we've thinking through every single scene that had to be shot inside the apartment.
Well, I love that. And I mean, this is yet another example of why not just your films, but Iranian film in general is so artistically accepted across the globe as just sort of these really powerful pieces of work that I hope more people will see your film and other films like it. Because again, it feels like it's very important. And again, just in not just culturally, but cinematically as well, because you've made a really beautiful film. And just, again, congrats on the work and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye, everyone.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.